been leading their teams throughout the season. Credit their teammates to allow these talented young players to be in the position to take their team to the tournament.
Trey Johnson leads the SEC in scoring in his last 6. He's been on fire. Jeremiah Fears coming off a career-high 31 in the home upset against Mizzou back on Wednesday night. Shedrick and Wagee set to tip things off at Moody. Crimson and cream in the burnt orange. We are underway in Austin. Jeremiah Fears walks it across the midcourt line. Poked away by Tremont Mark. He'll save it to Kaluma. Here come the Horns. Jordan Pope for 3. See the starting 5 for Texas. Pope back in the starting lineup. He went off against OU back on January 15th. For a scorching 27 points. And for OU, no Sam Godwin tonight. Sounds like he will be available next week in Nashville, led by Fears, and a 3 by Bryson Goodine, who can absolutely go off the snap of 2 fingers.
Great sign for Oklahoma right there. Unfortunately, their Achilles heel in that first matchup, turnover in their first possession. Great job right there, moving the feet, getting position, giving up the body.
Wagee draws the charge on Kaluma. His first team foul against the Horns.
Mo Wagee is going to have to play some big minutes without Sam Godwin in there. His big body. Wagee doesn't play, but you know, around the 15 range, so he's going to have to be ready to give some big productive minutes in the paint.
I like big and productive minutes in the paint.
Big and productive.
Right?
Well, he's big enough.
Miles outside and Jalen Moore. He had a career-high 29 in their previous meeting back in Norman. Fears will feed Wagee and pushes it up and in.
I think what's going to be really key, too, on that half-court offense, Oklahoma, Jeremiah Fears, see how he extended the defense there. Was patient enough to wait for that opening on that high ball screen to find his teammate on time, on target.
Sooners grab their first lead. 90 seconds in, a wild day in the SEC, as most weekends have been so far this season. Tremont Mark left open. Kaluma racing to catch up with it. He does. Pope another 3. And Duke Miles will walk it up. Both teams coming off wins over ranked foes in the midweek. Texas at Mississippi State. OU against Mizzou. Jalen Moore in and out, and a chance at the line. He will shoot a pair.
So we talked about Jeremiah Fears in the open for Oklahoma, and just a dynamic freshman and so many things that he can do, scoring himself and getting his guys involved. I do think Jalen Moore is going to be, he has to play his best game on the road for Oklahoma to get this win.
Arthur Kaluma just picked up his 2nd personal. And so right away, Jason Kent going to check in. Veteran officiating crew tonight, Bart Lennox, Vladimir Boyard-Tadao, and Anthony Jordan. One more for Moore.
And Jalen Moore and Jeremiah Fears. Jeremiah's #2 free throw shooter in the league. Jalen Moore is the #4 in terms of free throws taken. He's right around 4 of 5 every game. Good for about 83%.
83%, a solid number for a big fella, right?
There's no question about it. And then, you know, that mid-80s, and Jeremiah Fears himself is at 85%. That's, you get to the 90s, now you're talking about that's otherworldly. But that mid-80s, high 80s, that's next level too.
Only bucket for the Horns, a Pope 3 to start. 7 unanswered by OU. First touch for Kent. And now Trey Johnson, freshman phenom. Kent outside. That pass was tipped out of bounds. Porter Moser loves the start with this effort on this side of the floor.
I was just going to say that the activity, the move, the quickness from Oklahoma, obviously making sure that they know exactly where Trey Johnson is at all times.
Kent was bumped, and free throws coming for the Horns.
Number 5, Muhammad Watson. First personal, Oklahoma first.
John and Richard, thank you very much. Welcome to Moody Center. And a fast start for the visitors from Norman, 7-3. Pat Bradley, Roy Philpott, 2.5 minutes in. Already 2 fouls called on Arthur Kaluma. Kent will get one more free throw. 56% at the line this season for the Indiana State transfer. And we did expect to see Luke Northweather extensively tonight with no Sam Godwin, who made the trip but will not play after suffering a knee injury. That home win against Mizzou on Wednesday night, and there is Godwin. They're hoping he can come back for Nashville in the start of the SEC tournament on Wednesday.
Yeah, he's their leader in blocked shots and offensive rebounds. And I think picks set in the half court, Sam Godwin.
More for 3. Godwin's a force under the rim.
He's a force.
Right?
He's a fantastic screener on the half court, getting his guys open.
Johnson nearly traveled, instead got rid of it. Mark collided with Goodine. And Tremont Mark, when he gets going left side of the lane, look out.
Well, they know he's their best option after Trey Johns. Tremont Mark, hard driving left-handed guy, can shoot the 3, athletic, really good size.
Moore picked up by Kent. Goodine had an early 3, looking for his second. Not this time. Shedrick clears. Well, he had Mark running open on a post route. He elected not to throw the pass. Pope, and a chance for a 3 on the spinner. Now, Pope must like seeing the crimson and cream because he has really gone off against OU this season.
Well, he hit his first 3 in Northweather. That's Texas is really good getting out in transition. There's a number of guys that can get out and force the issue right there. Jordan Pope, again, just a simple crossover. Had the big fella Northweather out in the no man's land, little man's land on the perimeter for Northweather. But Jordan Pope comes out, makes his first 3. Now he's aggressive in transition.
In your mind, what happens with Arthur Kaluma on the bench with 2 fouls for UT here? Because got a lot of basketball left. And one of your top bigs on senior night sitting on the pine.
You have Kent coming in, who's now a big, strong, athletic, healthy player. So he can fill that role in terms of size and certainly in the paint. And the other side of it, too, is, with, Jeremiah Fears and,
Fears rejected by Kent. More importantly, maintain possession off the rejection. He'll get rewarded with an open 3.
In Oklahoma's, you're going to see some small ball without Sam Godwin today, as we see out here right now. Jalen Moore playing that 4 position. Shedrick's going to have to handle him at the perimeter. Good job keeping him out of the paint.
2 teams on the bubble right now. OU is in the field. Texas listed out with work to do. We'll tell you more about that from our good friend Joe Lenardi and more after this. Lot of government there.
380. I'm sure 380 teams would like to think they were on the.
I think so. Here's what tonight means. A win for the Sooners, nearly a 70% chance, according to ESPN Analytics, that you're going to be in the field of 68. With a loss, it drops down to 39%. For Texas, with a win, you see the number 42. With a loss, that number slices in half. So you talk about the importance of games at this late hour in March, final game of the SEC's regular season. It literally all comes down to this.
There's no question, and certainly Oklahoma's non-conference wins really helped them. Michigan, Louisville, Arizona. Those are big-time wins to put them in prime position where they're at now.
Bubblegum smell good, by the way. It's been a minute since I've had it.
Man, that's a sugar bomb right there.
It's not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Northweather remains on the floor. He just picked up the personal. Fears his first shot, and he comes up short.
And you see Kendall Weaver right there, who is their heart and soul of this Texas team, coming off the injury, guarding Fears right away.
He'll get a touch. He's missed the last 15. Blocked by Taylor. Somehow got it back, staying in bounds. Weaver had a groin injury. We haven't seen him since the Auburn game back in early January. Not sure he's 100%, but he's getting close. He started to practice as a full-go participant earlier in the week. And let's see what number 2 can provide Rodney Terry this evening.
Well, how about this? Wow, look at that. He's back. Hashtag he's back. The other side of this, too, is Trey Johnson, 15 minutes into the game, has not shot the ball. He's been in one action, which he passed off.
Glenn Taylor inside of the beautiful dime.
Lost Glenn Taylor right there. Another guy who brings some energy, defense, can make some shots, and he's going to have to play a lot bigger today than his position usually because of the injury situation for Oklahoma.
Johnson picked up by Goodine. The floater too strong. Onyema on the offensive glass and a fresh 20. Johnson for 3. No. His first 2 shots are errant. Kobe Elvis clears. And they're going to take a look at the clock. It's a malfunction of some sort.
And Trey Johnson has seen this all season long, where the defense will shade to him. That 15-foot baseline pull-up is one that, coincidentally enough, was one of the first shots he made in their first matchup. 1-2 dribble pull-up on the right-hand side.
Leads the SEC in scoring, and then you take a look at the last half dozen contests. I mean, he really has gone off. The month of February, he was dominant. And shoot, I'm not sure we've talked enough about what Trey Johnson has done in this league this year as a first-year player.
He's the best scorer in college basketball, number 1. Number 2, I was talking to one of the assistant coaches, and of course NBA scouts come through here, and they said, would not be surprised if he is a guy
game clock will be reset
forward.
to 14:32.
That has ability to lead the NBA in scoring, at least this season. I mean, he's got that 6'6". He's got the frame. He's got the touch. And the other side of it, too, is I was talking to Coach McClain, Steve McClain for Texas, and I said, you know, it's amazing. You watch Trey Johnson, and he sees every kind of defense, but it's the ability to get open. Like, he has got 10 eyeballs on him, but he still finds a way to get open. I mean, that is just an instinct he has to understand how to read screens, take his guy one side of the floor to the other side of the floor, knows how to be physical to get open when he has to.
Reset the clock to 14:32, and a bump on the perimeter. Onyema came crashing down.
And he's a willing passer, too. Trey Johnson is not just a guy that's going to catch it and shoot.
Rodney Terry has made it a point to tell us that the last 2 games. We were down in Starkville on Tuesday night for their overtime win, and that was off the heels of just 7 shot attempts in a home setback against Georgia last Saturday night.
That was so pretty. That was, oh, man. Couldn't cash in on it, but Jeremiah Fears just held on to it, as we talked about, just stretching the defense at the perfect moment. Got it to Northweather.
Johnson lost the handle. There was contact and a foul. Glenn Taylor didn't like it. Johnson nearly turned it over. Instead, Taylor picks up his first.
You know, a lot of times, the defense is going to be everywhere Trey Johnson's at, right? They're going to be not only chest to chest his guy, but you remember the old school zone in one, where you have one guy that's going to be glued to Trey Johnson with the other team's best scorer, and then the other 4 guys going to shade over to him. That's going to happen earlier in the game. Throughout the course of a game, defenses tend to loosen up.
Is that the same thing as a box and one? Because I remember talking a lot about that.
Yeah, the whole box and one.
Little junk defense.
Absolutely.
Weaver at 3. He was wrestled down. No whistle. Goodine defending that time. Kendall Weaver has checked in, and 2 quick shots off the mark.
You see how he kept his dribble right there? That is good, smart basketball by Elvis.
Dayton Forsythe checks in. Goodine off the glass, a little baby hook.
And then great ball movement. Goodine known for that 3-point ball that takes it to the hole.
Sooners by 2. Both teams on the bubble. End of the SEC regular season, their first year in the conference, former Big 12 rivals. And by the way, the Horns have won the last 8. Weaver off the heel. Kent crashes the glass, whips it over. Shedrick. Variety of different fakes, and finally a whistle.
Yeah, Bryson Goodine got caught on Shedrick down there. He was doing all he could to just wait for one of his guys. He's like, come on, fellas, come on over and help me. And here comes Jalen Moore, and McGee just a little bit too late. Shedrick is all about 6'11" and great length.
Virginia transfer. Here's Johnson, a quick breather. The turnaround, and Trey Johnson off the mark again. Shedrick gets it back. Floats it out to Mark. He'll attack. The fadeaway is all net.
That's what separates him. Is he's patient. He's got that nice little floater in the lane. I did that off 2 feet. He's patient, isolated off the top of the key. They can get that from him all night long.
Stopped an 0 for 7 slump for the Longhorns. And a foul in traffic and a shooting foul at that. McGee fell down to the deck. Rodney Terry, year 3, of course, led the Horns to that Elite 8 run. Now, 2 years ago, NCAA tournament appearance last year. And Horns have some work to do to get that resume where it needs to be. Coming up a week from tomorrow for Selection Sunday. Net ranking not that bad, but a position they would love to be in a little bit more favorable way down the stretch. One more for McGee. Porter Moser, year 4, he's yet to lead the Sooners.
You see what he's wearing?
Into the dance.
He's wearing the suit and tie. So at shoot-around today, I mentioned to him, I said, Coach Moser, you're 2-0 when you wear your tie.
Did he know that?
He knew it because I heard him talk about it in the press conference after the Missouri game. So I don't know if it's the power of the tie. I've heard the power of the pocket square. I've heard the power of the headband.
We've got some headbands tonight on the court.
Yes. In honor of SEC's own Ron Slay.
The Hall of Famer.
The Hall of Famer.
Ooh, like confusion between Mark and Shedrick and a turnover. Here's Kobe Ellis from 15. And Mark, the rebound. Boy, Texas a different team when Mark is engaged and he's putting up numbers. A left-hander outside to Larry. And the deep triple for Julian Larry.
And that was the one thing I was going to say. You mentioned Kaluma being out, foul trouble. I think that allows Tremont Mark to be more involved in the offense. He and Trey Johnson are the 2 best offensive weapons.
Great battle here between Moore and Kennan. Moore traveled.
Great ball movement. Tremont Mark getting in the paint, kicking out to Julian Larry. Catch and shoot. And it's Texas up 2 on Oklahoma. I love it when some of these legendary players, all players really, I mean, you give so much to a program, especially coming back to a beautiful place like Moody Center.
Our first trip here, we got the tour and very everything. Impressed, right? Oh. I mean, it really has been incredible. Brand new arena.
We got a little place in the back where there's actually a record player. We're playing a little Elvis Presley in the back.
Rod Stewart played here last night.
Did he really?
Rod Stewart was in this arena last night.
I thought there was that certain je ne sais quoi that was in that green room that I just couldn't put my finger on. There's greatness in there.
Horns by 2. Larry already with a 3. The no-look dish to Kent. He's triple team, no matter.
Texas, as we thought, would want to try to pound the paint, and that's what they've done.
Glenn Taylor from downtown. Back to a 1-point game. Glenn Taylor, 26% from 3 this year. Trey Johnson. Ooh. And a foul called. Johnson trying to come back down, was not able to do so, and a foul on the deep ball.
And that's big fella trying to guard that perimeter. A little awkward for him. And you know, if you're a big fella there, you just got to go just straight. Just get your hand up. And not gonna block that shot. McGee just trying to get over there, and momentum took him right into Trey Johnson.
Second foul on McGee. Johnson's going to shoot 3. I mean, we've talked about this a lot this year. Fouling 3-point shooters. It seems to happen in most games. I mean, not just in the collegiate ranks, but in the NBA. And you never see a 3-point shot blocked.
No.
You just never do. It never happens.
Point well taken. So I've observed this year. More air ball threes. more fouls on threes, and you got to wonder if it's because more threes are taken more than ever in the game, so there's more opportunities to shoot it. There's more opportunities to foul a three-point shooter.
Pierce walks it across midcourt, picked up by Larry. Here's Goodine open.
Yeah,
Mark strong with that attempt.
Mark coming from the back.
He felt it, didn't he?
He felt it.
Larry, the Euro, tries to spin it up and in, and instead he's going to shoot 2.
Good job by Texas, not slowing it down, getting the basketball up the floor. They do a good job in transition, and Coach Porter-Moser talked about their defensive transition.
Don't forget, coming up tomorrow's softball tripleheader right here on the SEC Network features 4 ranked programs. How about defending national champion OU against top 10 South Carolina, Mizzou, Kentucky, Auburn, and Mississippi State to wrap up the afternoon tomorrow here on SEC Network and the ESPN app.
Texas getting some good minutes from Julian Larry and Jordan Pope. Both guys coming in, contributing.
Larry with 5 points. Pope hit the 3 and then had the 3-point play. And the lead at 6. OU a member of the last 4 in, rather. Texas part of the first 4 outs, according to Joe Lenardi, ESPN bracketologist.
You see a play like that, and Luke Northweather's right there for that offensive rebound. Just think about Sam Godwin not being in there, who's a great offensive rebounder. That's the type of one that he gets for a second chance opportunity as soon as offense.
Miles. Ooh. And a kickball. Jason Kent thought he had a steal and perhaps coast to coast.
Well, that would have been some spectacular to see him in the open floor finishing above the rim.
He's a guy when you walk past him on the court, like he kind of stands out a little bit.
Well,
Kent.
When we walked in the shoot around this morning, he was walking off the court. And it was just, you get to take a double take. I mean, he's a fantastic athlete, healthy, as much as you can be. Sitting here in last week of the season, he's a guy that Texas will need not only today, but moving along into postseason play.
Second meeting between these two. The first matchup, January 15th, Texas jumped out to a 20-point lead, then held on late to win by 4 in Norman.
And the difference with Northweather is he could stretch a defense from the three-point line as well.
Fears too strong. Goodine gets it back. Taylor, his second 3. Glenn Taylor, the Oregon State transfer, started his career at St. John's. Now at OU, and the lead down to 3.
Second chance opportunity on that glass for Oklahoma.
More than halfway home in our first half. Larry with the quickness on display there, shooter.
Yeah, he turned that corner quick. That help wasn't there, just a little late. Gave up that baseline and paid for it. No rim protection really underneath there for the Oklahoma Sooners either.
Already over his season average. He's got 7. He averages 4.9. Here's Fears trying to crack the scoring column against Johnson.
Great defense.
Johnson a steal. Advantage there for Trey Johnson, the 2 lottery picks. Missed the dunk on the alley-oop. Here's Fears 1-on-2. He'll draw the contact and head to the free throw line.
Tremont Mark. Great defense by Trey Johnson. Moves his feet. Gets his hand in the passing lane. Give it up, get it back. Tremont just a little off target with that pass there. Trey trying to get creative. Left-handed flush. That'd have been something.
Fears will shoot 2, trailing by 5. Larry picked up the foul. So that was on Mark in your mind, I mean, because there's a lot happening there, and where the alley-oop is distributed and how you try to bang it down.
Yeah, if you're not a great thrower of the alley-oop, some people got it, some people don't. Best thing to do is just shoot it, just get it as close to the rim as you can, and he probably. Our guy will dissect this. Tremont puts it up. See, he was a little short there. You see what I'm saying? He was waiting for it to get on his right shoulder so he could flush it down.
I would ask Trey about that after this game.
But it was a little short, so he had to go back to his left and then try to, because we know above the rim the situations, both of us.
I'm not familiar with above the rim at all.
Neither am I.
I wish that I did understand it, but I don't.
Wish we had that problem?
Right. Mark off the screen. 8 to shoot for Trey Johnson. Picked up by Fears. Mano a mano. The lob. Cody unable to corral it. Onyema lost it out of bounds. It goes back to OU.
That was good recognition. Trey Johnson saw the shot clock down about 1 second. Got it up.
So back-to-back possessions, attempted alley-oops.
And a little off the mark.
They came up empty. Lead is 4. 8 minutes to go. Miles a corner 3. He buries that one.
It was great action. Kobe Elvis again stretching out the defense, being very patient to wait for that passing lane. Shot it right across. Good skip pass. Duke Miles wide open. Catch and shoot.
Sooners now with 4 triples and a foul. Elvis involved in a little traffic, picks up the personal. 1-point games that could be on the wrong side of the bubble in UT and OU. And for Vanderbilt, Georgia, look, they're firmly in right now, according to Joe Lenardi. Yeah. So the Sooners and Horns going to have something to play for. And it also depends on the outcome of this game. Right now, OU is in the field among the first 4 in.
Yeah, there's no question. And they should be. There's no question. And even not only non-conference, but what the victories in conference play are impressive as well.
Mark high off the glass, no good. Here comes Elvis. OU trying to go back in front. Taylor with 2 threes. How about a dunk inside?
Well, they stopped the ball, but nobody protected the rim. Everybody was spread out on the perimeter looking for a trail 3, and Oklahoma's a really good 3-point shooting team, so certainly Texas is like, hey, we got to protect this 3. Glenn Taylor.
And Arthur Kaluma back on the court with 2 fouls, unable to contest. He sat for 11 minutes of game time, now back on the court. Here's Weaver, tripped up. Glenn Taylor rips it away. And a jump ball, and it'll sail this in.
Yeah, that was a perfect situation in that transition to look for that trail 3-man. And Oklahoma playing small ball, obviously, right? Luke Northweather coming in right now. But Jalen Moore at previous possession with the 5, and Taylor was playing the 4. Now Northweather back in, who himself is a 3-point threat. Luke Northweather.
5 to shoot for Mark. Against Jalen Moore, he'll go baseline. And there was serious contact, a whistle.
I like that. That Tremont Mark made the decision. 6'5", athletic, strong kid. Just sometimes you got to force the official to blow that whistle. He goes into 2 Oklahoma guys.
Tremont Mark at the line, shooting 1-1.
Horns in the bonus, rest of the half with just a shade under 7 minutes to go. Pat Bradley, Roy Philpott. Final game of the SEC regular season. All other contests have concluded. An eventful day. And don't forget, we're so excited about our next SEC story that premieres Monday night. Volunteer for Life chronicles the Tennessee basketball All-American Chris Lofton, his private cancer battle during the 07-08 season. It starts at 7 Eastern Monday night here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Horns back in front, 25-24 on the 2 free throws by Mark. Elvis defended by Pope. Fears has been held in check thus far, coming off a career-high 31. Left side of the rim with a 3. Mark with the right hand, shoots it with the left, fading away and drains it.
Once again, Tremont making a decision that he is going to make something happen. He did the previous possession. That time he's showing off his mid-range pull-up again.
Mark with 8. Elvis the spin. Back outside to Moore. Over to Kobe Elvis. And Bart Lennox blows the whistle. And a foul called. Jordan Pope. So both teams in the bonus for the final 6 minutes of the half. Do you want to see anything different from Jeremiah Fears so far?
No, I think he's playing a good game in terms of stretching out the defense. And more importantly, what he does, he had 10 fouls drawn against Missouri. That is where this young fella excels. He is so smart, understanding not only getting to the basket and use his body, but even when he's just throughout the flow of the game, he understands how to draw fouls.
85% at the free throw line this year for Fears. 1 point tonight, now with 2 and another free throw.
And he's one of those type of players where, like, he gets his stuff within the flow, right? I mean, he's not going to force it as a point guard out high. He's using that high ball screen again. We talked about stretching the defense, waiting for that opening to get it to his teammate on time.
Fears now with 3 points. Trey Johnson with 3 in the matchup of potential lottery picks, and Fears is going to get a breather.
Now, there's one thing we know. It's like lighting a firecracker, my man. You light it, you just don't know how long the wick is, but at some point that wick is going to get to where these two guys explode.
They've had explosive halves in their freshman campaigns. Devon Pryor bounces it over awkwardly to Shedrick. Elvis on Pope. Jason Kent with 5 to shoot.
Yeah, and Oklahoma's defense just took them out of any kind of offense they wanted to run. Just dribble, dribble, dribble. You see, just they could not find anybody, and everyone's standing still watching guys dribbling.
Pace has slowed up here in the last 3 minutes. Elvis right side of the lane, tried to bank it in, and Northweather taps it up and in on the putback. OU back in front, so already 4 ties, 7 lead changes in our first 15 minutes tonight.
It's a second offensive rebound stick back for Oklahoma.
Without Sam Godwin, that's significant. Shedrick, no. Forsythe, a rebound. Elvis directing traffic. Sooners by a point. Jaden Forsythe just had his jersey hung in the Raptors at his high school a couple of weeks ago. Elvis blocked at the last minute by Shedrick, saved by the Sooners. Moore corrals a loose ball, and he's got to go. The turnaround, no. Mark a rebound.
I think Shedrick, thank God he didn't clip his fingernails today, because I think he just got that one by the fingernail.
Mark off the shoulder of Shedrick, and it bounces to Kent. Kenneful had a steal. Here's Goodine, 3-on-1. The lob to Bryson Goodine.
Now that lob got to his right shoulder. All he had to do was just flush it down.
Sooners by 3.
Goodine, Bedford's favorite.
Pope from the corner. Splashes home the triple. Oh, Jordan Pope with 9. He had 27 in the first meeting in Norman. We're tied at 30.
Yeah, and he's needed a game like this, because it hasn't been since that game where we haven't seen Jordan Pope really be effective on the offensive end.
Northweather, good cut and a great find. Sooners by 2.
Impressed by Oklahoma. They've been really good with that high ball screen right in the middle of the floor, being patient. Either looking to kick out for 3 or finding that pick and roll action.
Elvis already with 5 dimes coming off the bench for Porter Moser tonight. Without a point, the vision's been there. Pope from downtown. Horns back in front. Forsythe thought about it off the fake. Dumps it off to Northweather. Up and in, and a chance for 3. Now the pace has picked back up for both sides.
And there's Oklahoma here in transition at a high rate of speed. Kobe, Elvis, Bryson Goodine, New Bedford's finest with the yoke, and Jordan Pope decides I'm going to show up and have one of my best shooting nights.
Great. They need need to show up in that.
They do. Well, they have a great fan base, great crowd. If you've ever been down there in Mizzou Arena, they are wild. They certainly should show out. I think, you know, there really isn't any excuse. So take these two teams, for instance, really quick right here, right? Texas, Oklahoma. This will be the first time their fan base gets to go to Nashville for a conference tournament. So if I'm a fan of, you know, in this fan base, let me get out and see Broadway. Let me get out and see Music City, Nashville. Catch me a couple of games, hang out. You're part of the SEC family now. Let's go.
28 years together in the Big 12. Now their first season almost in the books in the SEC. OU and Texas welcomed to the conference. What a year it has been. Historical in every sense of the word. As Shedrick on the scoreboard from inside.
I was waiting to see when Shedrick would get that in the post. That wouldn't have, what you would say was he posted on getting on the block. He had to work a little bit, but I think they could use him as an offensive weapon in the half court a little bit more tonight.
Jalen Moore against Kent. Elvis has been active off the bench so far. 5 to shoot. Jalen Moore touched the shot clock and over the backboard. Goes back to the Horns.
Yeah, trying to work that two-man game. Texas, obviously, Coach Terry talked about that ball screen defense and did not allow that high screen roll that they had trouble guarding previously in this first half.
Sooners showed a little token full court pressure. Horns struggled against that at Mississippi State late in the game and in overtime on Tuesday night. No problem there. We talked to Ronnie Terry about that today. He said we've been really solid against the full court pressure most of the year with 2 exceptions, and Tuesday was one of those. Jalen Moore gets the bounce.
He said we're on the same press break offense we had since he had T.J. Ford when he was an assistant. Well, that's maybe personnel right there. That's a little bit different.
Johnson tried to shoot it. Goodine fouled him in the process. And we're seeing Trey Johnson and Jeremiah Fears trying to settle in this game tonight. Our 2 stars we spotlighted early, and it's been a work in progress in a game this magnitude. Trey Johnson could be his final game at Moody.
Right, and both guys have not been able to find their jump shot. However, Fears been to the free throw line 4 times, and Johnson's at the free throw line now for his going to be attempting his 5th.
SEC men's basketball tournament starts Wednesday. It is here, Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, the place to be. All first and second round games as well as the late quarterfinal matchups right here on the SEC Network, the ESPN app. Our first coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with the SEC Now crew on Wednesday. And of course, the following Sunday, you crown a champion. Selection Sunday, and we figure out where everybody's going. How many teams from the league will be invited to the big dance right now? It appears as if it'll be around 13. OU the last team in, according to Joe Lenardi right now, from the conference. 7 ties, 9 lead changes. Glenn Taylor effective. Not this time. Horns can go 2 for 1 if they hurry. Johnson sensing that. Comes up short. Tapped out. Back to OU.
Yeah, he got right where he wanted to, right in front of the rim. Just did not have enough to get it over the front of it. I liked his aggressiveness, turning that corner in that high ball screen. But you're right, it was there. You see his eyes lit up, right? And he knew, I'm going to force this issue.
Timeout called by Oklahoma. Jordan Pope's been one of the early stories with 12 points in our first half.
And he came out right out of the chute, knocking down a 3 right there in transition. You see it coming off the Trey Johnson swing in transition. And that's another transition bucket. Jordan Pope just attacking. And you're feeling it. I mean, when you're coming off those screens, to his left, too. You see that for a right-handed shooter, you're coming off to your left, so your right shoulder, your right foot's already pointed at the rim.
27 on January 15th. Since then, just 2 games in double figures. So Pope likes playing OU. We've seen that so far in the half. And look, when he's on, he was brought here to make shots.
Yes.
Texas becomes a totally different team.
And that's something that Coach Terry was very adamant. We asked about Jordan Pope, we asked about Arthur Kaluma and Tremont Mark, and he said, listen, they were recruited to do what they did last season, right? Make shots. And Jordan Pope, they need his offense today as he waits for Trey Johnson to find his jump shot.
7.5 second differential between the clocks. Here comes OU. Lost 8 in a row against their rivals, the Texas Longhorns. Now it's Elvis, the runner. Tough shot. No bounce. Johnson. And the Horns can play for the final shot of the half. Here comes the double team on Johnson. Whip it over to Larry with a crossover. Larry. And a foul was called. They're going to take a look at that last sequence. Shedrick hit the deck pretty hard. And a push was involved under the bucket.
Calling the floor is a foul on White. 5 plays under review.
They're going to check to make sure that foul occurred before the buzzer went off and that it is a valid infraction. Anthony Jordan walked over our direction to explain that, and let's see.
He got his forearm over there. It was almost like he was, remember how we used to jump fences when we were kids? We put that left forearm over and then just try to hop over it. But it looked to me, as we were
Game
looking.
clock will be reset to 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, it looked like there was some time.
Shedrick was called for the foul, I believe. 1.5 to go. Yeah, Shedrick over the back clearly, and so OU will have 1.5 to try to attack the other direction. And the Sooners in the bonus will get the free throws. Well, that's a significant moment here at the end of the half. Texas had a chance to grab the lead with a shot clock off, and now Northweather, 7 of 9 at the line this season, entering tonight. And he's made his only attempt of this game. So Luke Northweather press into action with Sam Godwin out with a knee injury. Missed the front end, and that'll do it for the first half. 7 ties, 9 lead changes. Jordan Pope with 12. Glenn Taylor Jr. with 10 to pace the Sooners. We end where we began, tied up. As we get you back to the studio, the halftime report headed your way right now.
Every one of his buckets, 12 points today.
7 ties, 9 lead changes in the first 20. Taylor Pope led the charge for both sides, former teammates in the old Pac-12, and now here in the SEC. Sooners get the first possession. Jeremiah Fears and Trey Johnson without a field goal in the first half. Nearly changed there. Fears missed the layup.
Probably not going to get another or as many easy looks at it as that was.
Kaluma, Wigee inside, and Arthur Kaluma, the 2 fouls, set a good portion of the first half. An early bucket to begin the second.
Yeah, he's the third guy that Texas has that can hard drive to the paint. Coming in, that's what Texas's mindset was going to be.
Here's the Euro pass out to Goodeye. And the 3 is in and out.
That was way down and out, wasn't it? My goodness.
Jeremiah Fears, 3 points, 2 assists. 0 for 7 from the floor, and Mark on the penetration was bumped. And the foul will be called on Fears.
There's Arthur Kaluma, foul trouble in the first half, but that's what he does so well when he puts his head down. Another big-bodied athlete finishing at the rim, and it's those sort of shots, like decision-making on his shot selections, that's going to be key for Texas.
Kaluma picked up by Moore, and Arthur Kaluma is well short. Only played 5 minutes in the first half. On the floor to begin the second. Those 2 fouls.
That was a forced shot right there.
Goodine. Too strong. Well, you heard Joe Lunardi talk about it at halftime. The most important 20 minutes for both teams in this second half. Both are on the bubble. OU a part of the last 4 in. Texas first 4 out. And he also indicated, Shuda, whoever wins this game, if you win one, your first game in Nashville next week, beginning on Wednesday, you're likely in the tournament. A fair amount of certainty as Fears is going to shoot 2 more free throws.
And I love hearing that. I love hearing the importance of the SEC tournament, right? Because there's so much discussion about how much can you really improve when you get into the SEC tournament. Great advance pass right there. Jeremiah Fears going to the free throw line again. I was part of a situation back in '96 where we were playing against South Carolina, and we were both on bubble teams. And it was, we met first round of the SEC tournament, but that was sort of in the tournament, whoever wins this game goes to the NCAA tournament.
Well, the way the bracket has been set, and it is set, both OU and Texas will play 2 teams that are firmly in, according to Joe Lunardi. And so you ask yourself, what do those programs have to play for? Now, of course, you want to go there and you want to win. But if you're in, does that create more urgency for the team that may not be in, facing the team that should be in? Could that be an advantage? Joe Lunardi speculated about that at halftime. Goodine open for a moment. Bangs home the 3. So OU back in front, 42-39.
Wow, gigantic play. Oklahoma showing full court pressure. Didn't get the initial steal. But Jordan Pope, as he's bringing it over half court. Great hands by the Duke Miles.
Kaluma bumped by Miles, and they'll say that was with the lower body. This is the bracket that we spoke of, and it is set now as this final game of the regular season enters the second half. Texas and Vanderbilt. Commodores are in off that late season surge. So is Georgia. Georgia's won 4 straight. That win at home against Florida, and they also handled the Commodores in Athens earlier today. So the Dogs and the Doors probably don't need another win and another quad 1 victory to make the field of 68. Both of these teams likely still will need that additional dub. And off the foot of Goodine, a foul's going to be called.
A lot of emotional Bryson Goodine there, taking on the responsibility of trying to contain Trey Johnson. Does a good job staying in front of him, and that was, he read that left to right crossover as good as you can, but got caught with his hands in the cookie jar a little bit.
Not a good place to be in mid-March.
No, I mean, you know, I guess it just depends on how tasty are those cookies.
Do like chocolate chip. Great look to Shedrick, who slams it down.
Great pass by Trey Johnson. Attack that baseline. Knows he's going to get that double team trap right there. Got it out on time, on target.
Duke Miles creating some separation. Pump fake and the fadeaway. McGee over the back. Going to be called for the foul. His 3rd.
And we talk so much. Trey Johnson, fantastic scorer, but this is what he also does. The really no-look pass. I mean, McGee was, see where his eyes are really at the corner where that Oklahoma defense thought he was going to skip it to the opposite corner, but no, no, no. Finds his man Shedrick.
Scouts will love that, correct?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's just a great decision making. But the other thing, too, is he was so under control. I mean, he's driving the baseline with, you know, 3, 4 Oklahoma Sooner guys right there on him and makes the correct decision on time.
McGee and Goodine both with 3 fouls, currently on Porter Moser's bench. 1-point lead for the Sooners. Johnson still without a field goal.
He loves that. Going to his left, little floater game he's got, little pull-up game going to his left.
And Fears fouled by Kaluma. That's his 3rd.
And that's exactly what Jeremiah Fears loves to do. He just baits you in, keeps his dribble alive. He's got tight handles. And watch him right there, right? Go left, keep my handles alive. He has that knack to get in your body, and he keeps the basketball sort of on his side a little bit away because he's got those long arms, great length. to where you reach, you ain't gonna be able to get it.
Talked to Jeremiah Fears last week before the Kentucky game, and I asked him, who do you try to pattern your play after? And he said there's really two guys. Trae Young, Ice Trae, of course, the former Sooner standout, and Kyrie Irving, which if you watch him play closely, he's got both of those stars in his game, and obviously at only 18, still a lot of room for growth and development. Ooh, Kaluma fully extended, somehow saved the possession. And Tremont Mark is short. Well, incredible range shown by Arthur Kaluma there, trying to keep the basketball on that side of the floor with the Horns. Fears a forearm. And a foul called on Jordan Pope.
Intelligence of these guys, understanding, hey, we're not making anything really outside of anywhere. Let's get to the free throw line. However, on the flip side of things, and we can do the flip side of things. So if you're Texas, okay, obviously Trey Johnson, such a great scorer, but, you know, Jordan Pope has emerged where he hasn't, right? So you take that into the postseason. If you're Oklahoma, you got Glenn Taylor showing up. Take that into the postseason without your big dog scoring.
Taylor with 10 points in the first half. His season high is 16. And he's back on the court. The under-16 media timeout. Fears picked up by Larry, split the double team. Couldn't finish. Northweather can. And a chance for three.
Luke Northweather. There's something about that position. He hasn't missed a shot either. Sam Godwin didn't miss a shot last week at that position. Well, Jeremiah Fears just split that defense. It was fearless. Luke Northweather just doing so many things right. Sometimes it's the right place at the right time. That's his second offensive rebound stick back for him.
So that unexpected offense from Northweather without Sam Godwin tonight, and also for Glenn Taylor Jr. really been the difference so far for Porter Moser's team.
Now think about that, right? Moving forward, Northweather's get his confidence.
Larry's had a hot hand. That continues. Larry in double figures with 10. He came into this game struggling a bit in the scoring department, only 4.9 per game. And Fears was shoved by Johnson.
Keep in mind the high rate of fouls drawn by Jeremiah Fears. Good job, Trey Johnson, drawing the double team, and he accepts that double team. That's what I love about what we've seen from Trey Johnson is he knows that double team's coming, accepts it, makes the right decision.
Ronnie Terry told us Tuesday in Starkville, Trey Johnson is not a hog. He's not going to hog the ball if the play isn't there. And then he said that again earlier today at shoot-around. I'm not sure if it's because you were in the house and you're a former hog, but he doesn't hog the basketball if the shot isn't there. Fears connects, and the first field goal, unafraid. He breaks the ice with the mid-range.
Yeah, you saw the handles right there, put him to sleep a little bit. Like Kyrie, little mid-range jump shot.
So you're buying what he's trying to sell us on that comp.
I'll buy anything he's selling. Froze the defender. Wow, what a pass.
Tremont Mark wide open.
What a pass.
Tied at 47.
I played with a point guard in college who had the ability to get in the lane like that and twist his body completely. And Trey Johnson did that through it. A dime right in the shooter's pocket.
Moody comes to life. Miles silences it with a top of the key triple.
Duke Miles, a tough kid, right? He starts the game off. Just that intensity defensive side. We see a zone here by Oklahoma.
Johnson, no. Remember, it was Duke Miles just less than 2 weeks ago that had part of his two front teeth that were chipped off.
That happened to me. I lost both teeth. I got two fake ones. Great job. You see, he goes to the right, and out of the corner of his eye, he can see those defenders where they're set up at. That's that handoff right there going to his left.
Johnson off the back iron, and Fears was tapped on the face by Kent. So he picks up the foul. Sooners are going to get it back with a 3-point lead, and Fears starting to exert himself a little bit more.
Yeah, he is, and got that one to knock down. Not so much Trey Johnson, but Trey Johnson's got the basketball in his hands. He's making the right decision. Those are makeable shots he's getting.
Miles open for a moment. Too strong. Shedrick. Tumbling rebound. Here's Larry to Shedrick. Back to the basket on Northweather. Kent saves the possession. Outside to Mark. And Larry into the backcourt. Stolen by Fears, who jams it home. Johnson tried to interfere with the dunk. Jeremiah Fears starting to take things over for the Sooners in different ways. The lead at 5. Johnson somehow got it back. Still without a field goal. Poked out of bounds. It'll stay here.
Just the anticipation of Jeremiah Fears on this play as Julian Larry goes to save it, and you just saw, we didn't see him where he started from. Jeremiah Fears had that look in his eye. He knew as the play was unfolding where he needed to be to get to that basketball, and that's just instinct anticipation right there.
Pierce tonight 9 points, the 2 assists, a rebound. Bulk of that production coming from the line until these last 2 minutes with 2 field goals. Larry's going to check out. Meanwhile, Trey Johnson, the lid remains on the bucket. He's 0 for 10.
And there's still plenty of time for him. Like I said, he's getting looks at it. Just sees one go down and he'll be all right.
2 former teammates going toe-to-toe at Oregon State, Pope and Taylor. Kent fumbles it, gets it back in the reverse. One possession game for 2 teams on the bubble. OU on the right side, Texas with work to do. A steal by Johnson.
Back to him.
Tremont Mark. The rack attack, and it was swatted away, but there was contact. And Tremont Mark going to shoot a pair.
Yeah, great job by Texas getting up the floor after that turnover. It wasn't a lot of ball watching. That's what, to run that fast break effective, you got to sprint up the floor, get to the corners, flatten out that defense. And Tremont Mark, we know what a great driver he is.
Timeout on the floor, 12:01 to go, and a 3-point game here in Austin. Auburn still remains the #1 overall national seed. Alabama starts to creep back into that conversation about a potential another team out of the SEC to be a #1 seed in addition to the Tigers. You win at Neville in an environment like that.
That's just an amazing win.
It's a big moment.
That's a big, unbelievable.
So Mark get one more free throw. 77% at the line, and congratulations in order for Vic Schaefer, Madison Booker, and the Texas Longhorns. They just completed the victory to advance to play South Carolina, the SEC Tournament Championship tomorrow down in Greenville, South Carolina. And boy, what a run it has been for the Horns, who some would argue are the best team in America, ranked #1, but a #2 seed in their own conference in year 1.
Coach
in
Schaefer
the SEC.
making a statement.
You know, the trilogy against the Gamecocks will take place in the championship of the SEC tournament in Greenville. 2-point lead for the Sooners. Moore with 2 on the timer. Jalen Moore, tough shot in traffic.
He could not have timed that better. He saw that shot clock right there. I thought he was going to pull from the top of the key, but what a quick, strong move. Finished with the left. Jalen Moore. He was going to make a big bucket at some point. That was it.
Gamecocks and Longhorns tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern on ESPN for the SEC Tournament Championship. Arthur Kaluma muscles one up and down.
Very patient ball moving by the Longhorns.
Pat, you can feel this game starting to take a particular pace. Both sides picking up their play on the offensive end of the court. A must-win for both sides. The Red River rivalry. Moore with a great cut outside to Taylor. Passed up the three. And Goodine off the heel. Trey Johnson, full head of steam. And there was contact. Bart Lennox made the call with a whistle. And the foul will be on Kobe Elvis.
It's a great defensive rebound by Trey Johnson on there. That long three-point shot, he had a hold off Jalen Moore. Physical, athletic Jalen Moore on his back to rise up for that. And then was his own man fast break. One-man fast break for Trey Johnson. Drawing the foul.
Forsythe goes out. Duke Miles back on the floor. Trey Johnson talking with Anthony Jordan.
He's saying, I'm coming off those screens. They're holding me, right?
Johnson, yeah, this probably is what he's saying.
You always got to try to get an advantage.
He's got a way about him, though, for a first-year player. You know, his dad played for Rodney Terry back in the day over at Baylor, Midwestern State. And he's really been better as we've gotten deeper into league play. His production has risen where, for the most part, you watch freshmen over the course of a season, and there's always that freshman wall that they hit.
Yes.
That hasn't happened for Trey Johnson this year.
Well, you did that Mississippi State game, and I was watching on TV, and there was a shot during a timeout where Trey Johnson, he was the voice of that timeout. So I think he's, as a freshman, turned 19 yesterday, but certainly the most talented player, but he's become a vocal leader, too.
10 ties, 11 lead changes. Approaching 10 to play in Austin. Elvis to Moore. Swatted away by Kaluma out of bounds. And we're starting to see Arthur Kaluma become more of a factor on both ends after the early foul trouble.
Well, he certainly has the game experience and the size to be that at 6'7". See his physical, just wide body, and that was a similar action that Oklahoma ran a few possessions early with Moore, and there was no rotation. Kaluma read that, able to get a hand on it.
Northweather back on the floor. He's tied his career high tonight with 10 points. What a game to do it in. One to shoot. Duke Miles saw it late. Nearly got the three to go. The rebound by Moore. In and out, but he was fouled. Boy, grown man board for Jalen Moore.
Duke has to get it up, and you just see, you mentioned Jalen Moore. He's strong, athletic, and just too much for Kendall Weaver to keep him off the glass. And probably a play he should have finished at for the old-fashioned three-point play.
I think Jalen Moore would tell you that. Georgia Tech transfer, 2 years in Atlanta, second year with the Sooners. Well, don't forget, coming up tomorrow here on SEC Network, a softball tripleheader featuring #1 and defending national champion OU. Tangling with top 10 South Carolina, Mizzou, and Kentucky at 4:30. Then Auburn and Mississippi State. Another top 25 showdown at 6:30. All tomorrow on SEC Network and the ESPN app. We had a glow stick tumble out of the stands into the paint, and a warning from the PA announcer.
How does a glow stick just tumble out of the stands? I mean, come on.
Was it thrown?
I'm just saying, I never saw a glow stick tumble.
Well, you could see how it would slip out of your hands. You're banging it around, banging another one against another one.
Okay.
Here we go.
Replay. Oh, look at that tumble.
That's not a tumble. That's a toss.
That was a dart, a javelin toss.
Great work by our camera crew.
They were all over that.
I wasn't ready for that replay.
I mean, we could probably identify this, but that's okay. It was only a glow stick.
It's almost spring break.
It's a big glow stick.
It is.
It's bigger than back in the day in 2000 when we used to glow stick them up.
Think back to the first meeting between these two. There was a balloon snake that was tied around the interior of the arena that helped spark a Sooner comeback.
Rally balloon,
if you will. Here's Kaluma. Giant step in the layup. Well, he touched every inch of the rim, and Kaluma got there.
He's come out on a mission in this second half. We saw Tremont Mark attacking in the first half. Kaluma, similar type player, doing that in the second half.
Here's Fears. Ooh. Boy, the handle's on full display. And the pass. The block by Mark, and he can't believe it. Called for the foul on Jalen Moore.
Well, from our standpoint, Tremont timed that one. Now, you see the tricep on the top of the head.
Now you wonder if this was the NBA, would they challenge that sequence? I mean, all ball with the hand, but to your point, lower part of the extremity crashing down on the cranium.
Sure, whenever we get another look at it, I'm going to say tricep to the top of the head. Oh, that one's a little tougher to see.
So Mark picks up his third.
Close call either way.
And the Sooners regain the advantage. Clint Taylor back on the court. Jalen Moore exits. And you wonder, when does it become Trey Johnson time for the Horns? Sooners going to show a matchup zone. Off the fingertips of Larry. Out of bounds, it goes to OU. And Trey Johnson walked over to Julian Larry right as he hit the deck, and almost with the signal of what was happening there on that cut on the pass that was wide right.
Just that miscommunication there where Trey Johnson was trying to swing it, Julian Larry trying to cut through just to make the defense respect him a little bit. And from the looks of it, I think the play might have been Julian Larry, stay there, we're going to swing it around the perimeter a little bit.
Certainly was the look on Rodney Terry's face. 9 minutes remaining. Sooners by 2. Trying to stop an 8-game losing streak against Texas. And here comes Kobe Elvis. And the Sooners starting to heat up. You look over the course of their last 4 games, shooting over 50% from the floor, over 40% from 3, and nearly 90 points per contest. And perhaps trending in that direction tonight. Kaluma cleared out some space, lays it in.
Yeah, great move out of Kaluma. And Trey Johnson, great attack move, getting it out there. And you saw him run all the way to the opposite corner.
There's the numbers on the Sooners. Their last 4, they have been electric. Fears rejected by Mark. On the stare down after he ripped the basketball away on the clean block. High ball screen for Trey Johnson. Step back 3. Fears clears. Boy, Elva's starting to feel it a little bit in traffic. Spins, gets the bounce. OU by 5.
When you get that deep, there's really no help. Just had to go up and finish. Played off 2 feet. Good little pump fake spin.
And we've heard Porter Moser talk about playing off of 2 feet with his freshman point guard, Jeremiah Fears. And perhaps Elva's taking a page out of that book, Under Control. And Shedrick fouled on the putback attempt by Northweather. That's his third. The lead is 5. UT has it when we come back.
To guard something like that, just because they're all committed. When you get in the lane, and especially when you leave your feet, they tell you don't leave your feet, but when you got that kind of a vision, you can do that. The defense is just so committed on you, and if you can make that pass, you are worth your weight in gold.
Pat Bradley, Roy Philpott. Shedrick shooting a pair of free throws. Horns trying to make this a 1-possession game. OU again, if you're just tuning in, Joe Lunardi has the Sooners part of his last 4 in the NCAA tournament. And for Porter Moser, he would get OU there for the first time as the head coach. He's got Texas among his first 4 outs. But he also indicated the winner of tonight wins their first game in Nashville next week. That should be enough to be on the right side of the bubble for Selection Sunday. Northweather does have that 3-point shot in the arsenal. Shot clock at 5. Fears behind the back on the much taller Kaluma. Shedrick has it for the Horns. Johnson to Larry. He was short, and Moore grabs the rebound. Under 7 minutes to go. Well, Elvis has been a spark plug. Larry, the all-out effort. He comes up short.
He almost caught that, too. Great effort by Julian Larry.
Five to shoot for Fears. Picked up by Shedrick. Drop back 3. No. Now it's Johnson, the skip pass, whipped over to Kaluma. That's a 3. And Jeremiah Fears signals for a timeout.
Trey Johnson again takes on 3 Oklahoma defenders. Great job by Texas swinging the basketball out of the Kaluma.
They've won 4 straight.
So they're being in the tournament, NCAA, to them is part of it, but they want to have a great showing of the SEC tournament, Georgia and Vandy too.
Keep in mind, Texas lost at Vanderbilt earlier in league play. And the rematch, the same city, different venue, not a Memorial Gymnasium, but at Bridgestone. 1-point lead for the Sooners. Miles loses it. Here comes Larry. He lost it. Elvis rips it away. Duke Miles for 3. Well, that would have been big. And the possession for Texas saved by Kaluma. He's got 11 points in the second half.
Tremont Mark, huge job right there, keeping McGee on his back and tipping it away from him for that defensive rebound.
Mark. Time is now for both Texas and OU, and a foul. Well, Miles was sandwiched there on the sideline, and Tremont Mark. And for Tremont Mark, that is personal foul number 4.
Tremont's played an excellent defensive game. We've seen him with deflection steals, blocked shots, and obviously we know how effective he was, particularly in the first half of driving the basketball with 12 points right now. So you don't want him to not play his aggressive style, so he's got to be. Coach Terry's taking him out now. Oh no, he's keeping him in. Okay, I like that.
And Larry goes out talking with Frank Haith, and there we go. There was a little bit of confusion here with Julian Larry the last few minutes. One on a pass, the other on the substitution, and Mark with a breather in the 4 fouls.
Whether he comes out now or he comes back in a couple of minutes, he's still going to have 4 fouls. He's still going to have to play smart. He's a veteran kind of guy. He knows what he can and can't get away with. And think about this. I think in your broadcast you mentioned it. He's made game-winning shots for 3 different programs.
Texas, Arkansas, Houston. He has been Mr. Clutch.
I don't know if you've noticed, but we're in a 1-possession game right now, so there's a high probability this is going to go to the wire.
And a matchup that has seen 11 ties, 11 lead changes. Last Texas lead coming at 39-38, way back in the beginning stages of this second half.
Coach
in and out and back in for Duke Miles.
Good decision, because he doesn't want him to get one of those cheap fouls.
The Sooners going to line back up in this zone. Looks that way. Mark the bounce pass. Check it. Johnson to Shedrick.
Here's what I would love to see for Texas. Now, Trey Johnson, has been a great facilitator. I would love to see a situation where one of his teammates runs a give and go, get it, whether he gets it to the, like a post pass right there to Shedrick, or a pass to the corner, and a quick give and get it back to him, right? When the defense shifts, get it back to Trey quickly. Don't hesitate. I think that could be open, that just quick give it and get it back to him.
And great to see Kendall Weaver back on the court tonight for Texas, giving Rodney Terry spot duty for the groin injury, and the front of the 1-and-1 miss by Shedrick. McGee picked up foul number 4, so the fouls mounting up on both sides in this rivalry. Johnson on Miles. Sooners by 3. Fears behind the back. And Miles dribbled it away from the body, somehow maintains the possession. Fears rejected. Shedrick got there. Pope behind the back. Jordan Pope to shoot 2. Without a point in the second half after 12 in the first.
Good attack there. Caden Shedrick, we talked about all of 6'11" with great length. Jordan Pope just made up his mind. He's going to go straight to the basket. Draws 2.
Shedrick working on that free throw form there, even though he's not shooting. For missing the front end of the 1-and-1 moments ago. Pope at 85% on the year. And the Horns in the double bonus the rest of the way.
When you can't get better at something. And that particular situation right there, Trey Johnson, he'll trail the play quite a bit and get some good three-point looks. So sometimes in that Texas transition, like I said, they have got to make sure they're still looking for Trey. And in a transition situation, kick it back to him on the trail for a 3. Or even on the half court, like I said.
Anthony Jordan and also Bart Lennox saying something to Jeremiah Fears, who bolted into the lane after that first free throw. And it was Pope with 2. It was a shooting foul. Horns are also in the double bonus.
Throw him off a little bit.
1-point game. Sooners without a field goal in the last 3.5. Jalen Moore. And now Fears. Kobe Elvis. 4 on the shot clock. Contested 3. Outstanding defense by the Horns. Can Trey Johnson get the offensive game going? The vision is there. And the reverse by Pope. Texas back in front. And a timeout at Moody. What a play by Trey. And the finish by Jordan Pope.
Another transition situation. Trey Johnson with a no-look pass with a great cut to a teammate down the lane. Texas up 1. The bigger Shedrick on him, but uses his great length to get his body in him and still able to get that shot up. But he's a master at drawing fouls as well.
Fears could be a lottery pick this summer in the NBA draft. Just turned 18 during this season, reclassified part of the ESPN 100. And Porter Moser told his team today, we are running towards the dance, running to the tournament. He's talked about being on the bubble with his team. He's talked about some of the bracketologists out there. And he said, you know what? We embrace it. And that's what we've done this season. That's what we're going to try to do tonight, even without Sam Godwin in the fold. Sooners back in front. Our 13th lead change tonight. Kaluma with 11 in the second half. Held in check, scoreless in the first. Johnson turns it over to Miles. Here comes OU. Duke Miles. Out of control, McGee. Keeps the possession alive. Boy, a lot of bumbling around there near the baseline. Shot clock already at 8. Miles on Larry. The size advantage. And a chance for 3. Big moment for the Sooners and for Duke Miles. 10 points per game, 85% at the line.
You see him, just the patience there. Waits again. 2 feet. Little pump fake. Got his defender off balance for an and 1.
First field goal for OU in 5 minutes. Miles right at that season average. Transferred from Troy, a season at High Point, and splashes home the free throw. 2-possession game, 70-66. Trey Johnson stop and pop. Kaluma came right to him, fouled by Moore.
It's good defense by Bryson Good, staying on that right shooting hand. Trey Johnson going left, who was waiting for that pull-up action. Arthur Kaluma, good activity on that offensive end.
Kaluma at the stripe, his first free throw of the game on senior night. Was recognized pregame. Brief ceremony, missed the free throw. The Horns, the free throw line tonight, 17 of 22. 2 fouls early, that was the difference, and he only played 4 minutes. And 11 make it 12 now in our final 20. Fears to Goodine. That's a 3. And the OU lead expands to 6, their largest of the game.
Roy, you talk about threading the needle, and that was a play. Jeremiah Fears knew exactly what he was doing and where he was going with the basketball in that situation.
Well, the accuracy, the precision on that pass, a fingertip away from a potential turnover. Kaluma, short. Miles clears for OU. And a chance to really create some separation. Fears will slow up the pace. Approaching 90 seconds to go. He looks towards Porter Moser and the OU bench. And here comes the play. Duke Miles, pick and pop. Wageen, the rejection by Shedrick. Caden Shedrick may have saved the game for Texas. Pope, acrobatic finish. The lead down to 4. Oh, Jordan Pope has been in the air forever on 2 strong finishes.
Yeah, he's come alive here in this game, and they've needed him. And his Jeremiah Fears, as he brings that basketball over to the right side, knowing his best shooter, Bryson Goodine, is way down there in the corner. And that's just a thread the needle, knowing where his teammate is going to be. And Jordan Pope just misses it by his fingertips. Great activity right there by Shedrick, and Tremont Mark gets it up to Jordan Pope with that acrobatic finish, and you see Trey Johnson out there at the wing 3-point line. So when I talk about give it up and get it back, Trey Johnson has got defenders all over him, right, when he's got the basketball, and when he doesn't, right, the initial defender is going to be all over him. I feel like when he makes a pass, that's the only time when his defender sort of steps back and relaxes just for a second. I think he gives it up, he runs back and gets it. I think he is going to find a little bit of just space to get off a shot.
6 Sooners in double figures. The balance has been there for Porter Moser's team. And how big of a win would this be, not only for OU, but for its head coach, stopping an 8-game losing streak. The Red River rivalry on the hardwood, not to mention the NCAA tournament ramifications. Joe Lunardi said it at halftime, talking with the guys back in the studio, the SEC Network headquarters. You win this game, you're on the right side of the bubble. You win one more, you're probably definitively in the NCAA tournament, if that makes sense. And OU knocking on the door. Can it find a way to close it out? Tremont Mark picks up Fears near half court. And a timeout was called by Porter Moser, standing right behind Bart Lennox. And probably a good call with a shot clock at 11 there, Pat.
Yeah, well, the basketball was out near half court. Tremont Mark obviously arrested. That would have been Mark's 5th right there. So, in that reach in, I know Tremont wants to make something happen, but my goodness, as we talked about, he is a guy where at the end of game situations, he can make a bucket for you, get a block shot, a big rebound. So he doesn't need to reach in on Jeremiah Fears.
There was a deep sigh of relief as he turned around to see it was a timeout and not a foul call.
Right. There is no question about it.
Sam Godwin breaking it down. Sooners among the last 4 in.
He said, my knee's fine, coach, put me in.
Texas first 4 outs. And this is the SEC tournament bracket. Horns will get Vanderbilt on Wednesday in that first round matchup. The Sooners and the Bulldogs. Georgia has won 4 straight after winning earlier today in Athens against the Commodores. But Joe Lunardi informs us Georgia, Vandy both in and probably not with a ton to worry about on Selection Sunday. And let's see what Porter Moser decided to draw up out of the timeout. Moore against Shedrick. Outside to Miles. Deep 3 on the way. And the Horns get a stop. Here's Pope. Now Johnson. Trey Johnson. Missed the runner. Out of bounds. And they're going to have to take a look at it. Well, it's been that kind of night offensively for Trey Johnson. Passes have been tremendous. To be able to finish point-blank opportunities, it has not been there.
Yeah, that we talked about. I mean, just not going to get a better look at the end of the game situation
Ball
right
on the
there.
floor is Texas ball.
Momentarily took his eye off the rim. You see him looking at that defender.
So Anthony Jordan walking in our direction, signaling they're going to check to see who that ball was last touched by. Johnson off the miss. It rolls around the rim and then down.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult than we thought initially.
Well, as Anthony Jordan walked in this direction, he did signal Texas basketball initially, taking his arm and extending it towards the Horns into the floor. That was the call on the court. The question is there enough here to overturn the original ruling? And shoot, it's got to be clear and obvious.
Right. From that angle, it's not clear and obvious, right? It's would seem to stay with Texas from that angle there. Now they got all the angles in the world. I mean, they got probably the drone angle, the satellite view of it.
Oh, it's just been that kind of night for Trey Johnson.
So it would be Shedrick
and Miles, and Goodine snuck in there as well. A meeting right under the net. Big call in this game. 2-possession affair. Only 30 seconds to go. If Texas has it, you feel okay. Here we go. Let's mount the comeback. If not, you got to play the foul game right away.
Yeah, this is a huge decision right here, and we had this.
After review, it's Texas ball, 31 on the game clock, 20 on the shot clock.
Well, the Horns will get it. Story in the first half for OU, Glenn Taylor Jr., 10 points. Not been a factor so far in this second. Jordan Pope show early for the Horns. Texas basketball. Sooners haven't won in Austin since 2021. Trying to change that tonight. Mark, the mid-range. No, Duke Miles skies for the rebound. He's double teamed. And right off of Shedrick out of bounds. 18.6 to go.
Smart play. Who's that? Duke Miles there deep in the corner. My goodness. Almost got swallowed up by those two guys. Wow, swoops in. Duke Miles, such a tough player.
And then staying in bounds in the process right by the baseline. Oh, the toughness, his grit. We talked about losing the teeth. And now look at where they have to inbound, right in that coffin corner.
Oklahoma, you have got to come strong to the basketball, create space, V-cut.
Fears meets the basketball, picked up by Pope, and quickly fouled. Both teams in the double bonus.
You got the guy, if you're an Oklahoma Sooners fan, that's the guy you want at the free throw line. 85% from the free throw line, and guy was comfortable being there. His average, second most free throws attempted per game in the SEC.
Sooners have made a living tonight at the stripe. 19 of 22. Fears 7 of 8. Now 8 of 9. Unafraid at the line. Jeremiah Fears fell in love with his Oklahoma coaching staff in the recruiting process. Has stayed the course with his development after reclassifying. And what a factor he has been in OU's first season in the SEC, a year in which it leads the Southeastern Conference in free throw percentage.
That's huge. Going on the road, free throw line could be a lonely place. Jeremiah Fears.
Trey Johnson for 3. Pope on the offensive glass. Contested triple for Jordan Pope. And don't go anywhere just yet. Still a 1-possession game, 6.2 to go. A timeout on the floor. All right, what's the method of operation here for the Horns? You're running out of time.
Yeah.
Obviously looking for the steal and the quick foul, I would assume.
There's no question, but with 6 seconds left, 6.2 seconds left, you want to give yourself an opportunity for missed free throw, obviously, on the other end. I mean, you can't give up a couple of seconds, I think, trying to get a steal. Now you get it down to 4-3 seconds. You missed the first shot. You got to be able to make sure that you give yourself enough time off that missed free throw to get the basketball up the floor for a good look at it, right? So you can't really give up too much time looking for that steal.
Both teams in the double bonus. Horns with 2 timeouts remaining, OU with 1. And perhaps on the verge of ending that long losing streak. So their arch rival, their first year in the SEC together. Sooners looking for a clean inbounds pass here. And at least 1 free throw to make it a 2-possession game.
Well, they're running the football play.
Fears on the screen pass. Lost the handle. And finally a foul call. That could have been disaster. And Duke Miles is going to shoot 2.
So now you 2.2 seconds. You miss free throws here. You're at 2.2. Yes, you got a free throw. Can't advance, though.
Larry and then Pope sneaking in from behind. Nearly ripped it away cleanly. But it came right to Miles.
Well, clearly they're like, we don't want to foul Jeremiah Fears again at 85%.
Duke Miles 3 of 3 at the stripe. 85% on this season. He makes 1 of 2. It's a 2-possession game. And he missed the first. And now it all comes down to this.
Oklahoma calls time.
And Porter Moser is going to utilize a timeout.
Full timeout.
Duke Miles with 1 free throw remaining, and Texas with 2 timeouts left.
Oklahoma, let's just, you make it, right? You're up now 4, 2-possession game. However, Oklahoma, if there's a miss, you don't want to scramble for a loose ball, foul. Although I can hear Damian Fishback in the studio saying you're up 3, so a foul by Oklahoma would not be a bad situation for them. With Texas now going to the free throw line and then played out that way as well.
Now, what a game this has been. The final game of the SEC regular season. Game number 144. And both teams on the bubble. OU trying to back up its win against Mizzou with a road victory in Austin. And you take a look at what the chances look like with a win tonight for the Sooners. ESPN Analytics, you go from 48% to 69%. And for the Horns, you go from 36% down to 21%, probably needing to win 2, at least in Nashville, to make the dance.
So you're saying they got a chance?
I am.
There it is. And again, going back to not leaving yourself a lot of time for if you're Texas on a missed free throw. You do have a timeout. However, we know you can't advance it. So it'll be interesting to see. You get the rebound, you try to get it up to half court, get a heave, or maybe you do call a timeout, you take it out, and then you run a set play trying to get a catch shoot with about 2 seconds left.
Duke Miles, a year at High Point a season ago, 3 years at Troy, first team all Big South, started every game this year for Porter Moser, and playing through the chip teeth situation from nearly 2 weeks ago. And here we go. Miles missed it. Trey Johnson a rebound, and Texas with life. 1.8 seconds to go. And the scoreboard showing that is the Horns' final timeout. You got 1.8 seconds to go. Trey Johnson hasn't made a shot tonight. He's 0 for 14. Jordan Pope is 7 of 9, including 4 of 5 from 3. Horns are out of timeouts. If you're Rodney Terry, what kind of play do you try to dial up here?
Well, the good thing is you got 6'6" Trey Johnson, and he's very good, right? We've seen him in his post-up game where he's able to put his defender on his back. So you'd imagine there's going to be a play where trying to get Trey Johnson to catch it as deep as he can past that three-point line, and it's going to be a catch, maybe one dribble, being able to get up a three-point shot. I'm still looking at Trey Johnson because of his size. He can get the shot off. He can get open. He's very crafty at doing that. It's going to be key, though. Who's taking the basketball out of bounds? You cannot run. You got to have a guy who can get it on time, on target. Maybe some action here with a screen in this backcourt, or you do a situation where you try to get somebody with a full head of steam catching it somewhere up in this backcourt, 1-2 dribble, maybe get a deep look at it. Jemai Meshack type look at it.
We saw what happened there. They did add 0.1 seconds back. 1.9, both teams out of timeouts. 3-point game after the 2 missed free throws. And if you're part of this Red River rivalry, you've suffered heartache and you've been jubilant so many times over the years. In basketball, lately, it's been all Texas. And you knew it was probably going to come down to the final possession, and here we are. Horns hanging on by a thread. Porter Moser standing at midcourt. Coach, you got to get back.
He's trying to check himself in the game, I think.
What's he doing? I mean, Bart Lennox calmly directed him back towards the bench, and he's still on the floor.
Trey Johnson right here.
Baseball pass from Kent, intercepted by Goodine, and that will do it. The streak is over. OU topples Texas, and they do want to take a look at that last sequence. And perhaps merely a formality. 75-72. Nothing came easy tonight for either side, but OU on the right side of a 3-point advantage.
After the foul, there will be 1.4 on the game clock.
They did call a foul. 1.4 to go. And so let's do this whole song and dance again with Bryson Goodine at the line.
Can't just trying to go to Kaluma, but that was, I mean, he just floated it up there. There was, there's a, you know, you try to catch it before the half court on the run.
Goodine missed the first free throw.
So difficult to float it up there when the whole building knows where you're trying to go.
Horns out of timeouts. Goodine misses one more. I mean, it's desperation time. Goodine 79% at the stripe this season. And Goodine gets the bounce. Johnson heaves it. Pope wants a foul. He'll get a block, and that will do it. The SEC's regular season ends tonight in Austin, and OU ends the streak at 8. Their first win in Austin since 2021.
Just an incredible team effort. When you had guys that needed to step up, whether it was Glenn Taylor in the first half and our guy Duke Miles, big time plays. Luke Northweather played big time minutes, had to have it. What a big time team effort by Oklahoma.
The Sooners in the regular season with a flurry. For Pat Bradley, I'm Roy Philpott. Good night from Austin, Texas. SEC Now is headed your way right